What's going on, Legionnaires? Welcome to another episode of the Legion of Comic Correction. We talk all things comic books. Woohoo! All right. Man, well, we are jumping into the Marvel series season next phase. Come on.
You're not wrong.
You like it? We're jumping to the next phase, and the next phase begins with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium.
Wasp.
Stop it. I can say Wasp however I like. Now I'm self-conscious.
Now you really did it.
Really
Now
emphasizing
you
the
really
old Wasp.
You know what? You're just jealous. Well, anyway, that movie's coming out.
Do you mean joyless?
Soon?
Wow.
Wow. Do you want to talk about something here, Harry? I'm just joyless. Anyway, you ever see Inside Out?
No.
Get some Amy Poehler in your life. She's quite joyful. We're leading up to this new Ant-Man movie. New Ant-Man movie comes out mid-February. We're gonna see it opening weekend. We're gonna be there, even though we're old. We're gonna stay up. We're gonna watch it for you.
With like 23 people.
We're taking everybody.
We're taking up a whole row.
We're renting out almost 2 full rows.
2 full rows.
That's because that's how the Legion does it. We are many.
Bring it.
Let's do it.
Come see a movie.
The noise has been brought.
Come see a movie with the Legion.
You know what? If you, in the comment, whoever you are,
down there,
want to come see a movie with us, I'll pay for you.
Oh, look at that's big.
That's good for 5 people.
Good cap. That's pretty
and
much.
And you have to live in the tri-state area of Pennsylvania.
Tickets are like $18 now.
Philadelphia.
Pop.
I'm willing to do it. Bring the fans to the people.
Bring the fans to the people?
Well, we're the people.
We're the people.
We the people. I was going to say that isn't.
We the people?
We the people.
We the people.
Of the United Legion of America.
Of America. Yeah.
We always be declaring.
We always be declaring.
We're global.
It's true.
Yes.
We're worldwide.
We're not just America. We're transcontinental.
Yeah.
Anyway, in order to get us ready for this new Ant-Man movie, we are looking at the first 2 installments of Ant-Man. Ant-Man and then Ant-Man and the Wasp. So this one is Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man movie, the first time Paul Rudd jumped into the MCU. Man, he is a national treasure.
He's a national treasure.
I love that dude. I would watch that dude do anything.
He's a Jewish Southern man.
Isn't he?
Yes, he's very Southern.
Isn't he people's sexiest man alive?
He was.
He did.
Was
he did
3 years ago or something like that.
3 years ago? Oh.
Yeah.
But he was on the TV show Friends.
Yeah.
Looks exactly the same.
Same thing.
Same man.
It's like been 30 years.
Never grew.
Doesn't
never
change.
aged.
No.
Not a day.
No, not really.
Always like this middle-aged stud.
Yep.
Anyway, he did 2
Been there.
Ant-Man movies, and the third one's coming out in just a few weeks. So we're going to get ourselves ready by doing some comic reviews of those first 2. So today, we're doing Ant-Man 1. But before we jump into it, make sure if you are new here to like and subscribe, hit that bell down below.
Do it.
Go down into the description and click those
Do
links. You can support in lots of ways. You can support
Do
by
it.
becoming a Patreon member.
Do it.
Extra stuff there. You can support by going to our store and buying sweet merch. I like those things over there and sweet merch. I like this stuff over here. We love
Always
your guys'
merching.
support. You guys are what make this show happen. So go down there and click those links. Click that bell. Click that subscribe so that you can always stay up to date to our comic news. All right. Ant-Man 1. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to jump right into our Carnage Report. All right, Carnage Report.
Violence.
Chainsaws.
I didn't do it yet.
What?
I know. I'm sorry. It's still the
My gosh.
the TV screen. Yeah, we'll get there.
That was just mouth.
That was
That was
real
just
far.
you?
Pure mouth noise.
That was
Pure mouth noise.
Oh, it was mouth
From my butt.
from your butt. you have a mic running down there as well.
That's where Brett's mic goes 90% of the time when he's out here.
You sit on Brett's mic. Oh,
No
my
wonder Brett's
clean
out
it.
sick.
Don't even clean it off. Just hand it right to him.
That's tough.
Brett's like, why is my mic warm?
My mic smell.
It smells like roses. All right. Our Carnage Report, guys, as always, we're going to look through how much did the movie cost.
It's a Marvel movie. What do you expect? Okay, let's move to the conclusion.
Made a lot of money.
Made so much money. Oh, so much better than DC.
Well, maybe not for long. If you watched
Not for long.
I'm just kidding.
If you watched our last episode, we just dropped all the crazy
Compare
DC
apples
news,
and
man.
oranges.
Apples and oranges. Which one is DC? The apple or the orange?
Orange.
Orange.
Think it's
Orange.
orange.
Yeah, 'cause
Apple
you
was first tried and true,
Crisp and,
kind of
and
always
Well,
steady.
and you got to peel through the layer.
Yeah,
You know,
layers.
it's got a thick outer layer. You got to get down into it.
Yeah, but you know what orange is?
But that,
when you-
yeah, oranges have a thick layer.
That's what I'm
what
saying.
he's saying. He's saying peeling through to get to the good
For
stuff.
Marvel?
In no, in
No,
DC.
for DC.
I said
You said Marvel was the apple. It's the
You
first
said
tried and
Marvel
true.
was the apple.
No, I said Marvel. Oh, I've originally said DC was the apple.
You rewind that, and then you got to just
I think
replay
I
it
think you
back.
said that. Yeah. Which one is DC? The apple or the orange?
Orange.
Yeah,
No, we both said which one's. Whatever.
Move on.
Regardless, you know what the thing about
Yeah,
oranges
regardless,
is?
yeah.
Orange is sometimes the
Nailed it
orange.
all.
Sometimes the orange feels right, and then when you peel it open, there's nasty stuff inside.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate for DC.
That's fair.
The
Okay.
trailers look really good. And then you
Okay,
peel it
let's
open.
talk money.
Highly flammable.
Let's talk money.
All right, so Ant-Man budget. Ant-Man budget came in at 130 million. So 130 million.
Yep.
They had a good amount of
About
special
right.
effects. Like a lot of those ants, you know, like
Yep.
those ants weren't real.
There was a lot of ants.
special
Believe it or
effects,
not.
Yeah.
Anthony was not a real ant.
What?
Do not tell.
Excuse me?
What?
His death was computer generated.
What? I don't understand things anymore.
Well, it is what it is.
I
Sorry to
cried.
so did I.
I thought he was real.
Sorry to break
This is
the
a
bubble.
bull.
Anyway,
There goes my hero.
Aim for the bushes.
I love
Watch him as he falls.
I'm going to call you Antonio Banderas. So 130 million. Worldwide, it made 519 million.
That's a good one.
Which is good, especially
Solid.
for somebody
Pretty
like,
good.
somebody like
Say
Ant-Man.
I would say it's solid. It's not
not
a
like
great,
amazing.
It's not a blow it out of the water Marvel start, but yeah, it's
but
a
good.
solid first movie.
Especially for a character like Ant-Man, where it's like if you read the Avengers back in like the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
you would know
Yeah.
Ant-Man. But like really, I mean, Ant-Man's he's not like a heavy hitter.
No, he
So-
wasn't.
That's true.
You know, so that was, I mean, Paul Rudd definitely, I think, was a draw, and the cast was pretty good. You know? But yeah, cool. All right, so cast. Okay, speaking of cast, Paul Rudd comes in as Scott Lang, which I think was super smart.
Number one.
They could have gone Hank Pym,
Yeah.
like as the main Ant-Man. He was the original
Or OG.
Avenger Ant-Man.
Yep.
But I think it was smart to go with the wisecracking.
I
thief.
agree. That was what. Well, because the reality is they didn't have. When you look at the original cast,
Right, right.
who they had on the team in terms of like wisecracking was at most Tony.
RDJ.
Yeah. And
Yeah, right.
so they really needed to add to that. They needed a comedic effort that wasn't just sarcasm, that was like just
Right,
goofy silliness, and that's what they got here.
And Hank Pym, actually, in the comics, a little tidbit, his reputation is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Mainly because he's a wife beater
Ooh,
in the comics. And so
that's right. That's
what-
right. I
which
forgot
really-
all about that.
Well, what's really interesting about that is that panel where he actually like hits Janet
Mm-hmm.
was not supposed to make it to print.
Oh, good.
But-
Really?
right. They had like
But it was out in the 60s, so, they were about that then.
yeah,
Mhm.
right. Strong hand.
Yeah.
They
Sweet
they
Lord.
mocked it up and they like did it whatever and they were like, well, maybe we'll go down this route, maybe we won't. They decided not to go down that route, but it got printed anyway.
Mm.
And then it was out there. And
Yeah.
and so they tried to multiple times they tried to rewrite Hank's character and like bring him back and kind of like redeem him in the fans' eyes.
Yeah.
But it
Never
left,
worked.
yeah, it left such a hard like that's why he kind of he became a villain in certain runs. And
Yep.
like
Yep.
people just didn't like him anymore.
Well, I think it was also good
So it's
because
tough.
it left open the opportunity for the storylines between Tony's dad and
Yes.
Hank Pym
And Hank
as
Pym,
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything that happened with Captain America too.
Right, right.
The timeline just matches up really well.
Yeah,
then.
it worked. It worked really well, and it also kind of gave the MCU a chance to make Hank Pym not a jerk.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like Michael Douglas's character is pretty well liked.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, well,
He's got a third film to mess it up.
hopefully he doesn't hit his wife in the third film.
Oh yeah, let's hope for that. Let's hope he does not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, don't mess.
Don't
mess-
Pfeiffer.
mess with
Listen.
Pfeiffer.
Good luck hitting
She'll
Michelle
puff-
Pfeiffer.
She's got cat-like reflexes.
She
punch
does
you
have
in
cat
the
lane.
face.
She'll come get you.
Come on,
I was trying to
she
make.
has cat-like
flubber.
reflexes.
I know. Okay.
Give
I
it
mean,
to
I
her.
heard it afterwards, but
Thank you.
It was, but whatever.
Wow,
You set it up real easy.
I did, and that's
Yeah.
how you're supposed to do it. Anyway, Michael Douglas comes in as Hank Pym. And then Evangeline Lilly comes in as Hope Van Dyne, his daughter. We actually have a Janet in this movie, though Michelle Pfeiffer was not cast at this point, so she doesn't talk at all. We see her in the flashback when she supposedly dies by entering the quantum realm.
What's her name?
Janet Van Dyne.
Okay,
yeah, Janet.
She's only wearing the suit in the first one.
Yeah, you never
she's
see her
only
face
dressed as the Wasp.
right.
That's all you see.
No, I forgot that they didn't have the same last name.
Yeah,
right. Hope kept her last name. Hope Van Dyne kept her last. Yeah. What's interesting?
Were they married or they were just the parent?
They were married.
No, they were married.
Yeah, they were married.
She just did one of those like.
Yeah, like I'm already
things.
established as a person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep my last name.
Yep.
What's interesting is that they do the same scene in Ant-Man 2 of her going quantum, but they actually incorporate Michelle Pfeiffer saying,
That's
tell
right.
Hope I love her, and like they add some things, which I thought was cool. It was kind of like a backtreading on that, but I guess they hadn't cast her yet, or I don't know. Anyway,
Whatever.
So Evangeline Lilly comes in as Hope. We get Corey Stoll as Darren Cross, who's the villain of this movie, who becomes the Yellowjacket. We also have Michael Pena as Luis.
He's funny.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he's real good.
T.I. as Dave, who also, he was really good too.
He was.
I'm really
He
sad.
was.
I'm really sad that those allegations came up around him, and he's not going to be in the third movie.
Yeah.
He had some nasty allegations come up around him because he was really funny in the first two movies. And then David Dasmalchian is Kurt. He's the Russian dude. He's also Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad. Man, that dude is super funny too. So they came in as them. And then Anthony Mackie makes a guest star appearance when he goes to the Avenger facilities as Falcon. So cool. Pretty good cast. I mean, the main kickers, Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, and Corey Stoll, I have no complaints. I thought they were all really well cast.
Yeah, I think I have a lot to say. Actually, I don't have that much to say on this, but
I was gonna say,
it's a solid cast. I think casting-wise, they actually did a very, very, very good job. I think that's the big draw here. But let's get into it.
So the director of this movie was Peyton Reed, who has gone on to do the second one and is doing the third one as well. But originally,
got all three.
Yeah,
gotta collect them all.
Originally, it was directed and written, or it was intended to be by a director called Edgar Wright, who you guys might know him.
No, I know Edgar Wright.
Shaun of the Dead, and Hot Fuzz, and things like that. Yeah, and he ran into creative differences with Marvel, and they split ways.
That's a shame. Edgar Wright is awesome.
Yeah, he still gets a writing credit in the first movie, and him and Paul Rudd actually worked on the original script.
Wow.
And they kept a lot of the things that he did, but
I really like Edgar Wright.
You can feel it, especially in the first movie. It still kind of feels like an Edgar Wright
Yeah,
humor.
it does. You're exactly right. That cat.
They kept a lot of it.
Brings a lot of connections.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
They kept a lot of that humor, and even in the second movie, they
it's
kept
like
some of that
dryish
humor.
kind of like looks humor. Like,
yeah. So it's good. I kind of wish I would like to see Edgar Wright's like actual what he would have like made it to be, but it is what it is. You can't always win, So he helped, and it came out. It was still a good movie. It did a good job. All right, source material. Source material is pretty loose in this one when it comes to actual storyline.
You're telling me a Marvel movie has loose source material?
Now,
big surprise.
What's funny is that this is 2015. This is an older Marvel movie.
Yeah, no kidding. But it's
Paul Rudd was
I
cast in
graduated
this.
high school in 2015.
Listen, but Paul Rudd was cast in this before Marvel was even owned by Disney. So like this is going back. So and back then the Marvel movies were I think more accurate toward the source. So
True.
It's interesting that this one's not quite as much. So
true.
They deal with tales.
This is where they started to really deviate, though. I would say.
So. I think so. Toward the end of phase one.
What phase? This isn't phase one,
or the beginning of phase two, maybe. 2015.
Yeah.
Beginning of phase two, maybe.
So yeah, I mean, phase two is when they started to.
Started to shift.
Make your moves.
What phase was?
Is this phase 3?
No, it's either phase. It's either phase
Ant-Man's
one or phase two.
Ant-Man is phase
Phase 2. It was the last film of Phase 2.
There you go. Okay.
Last film of Phase 2.
End of Phase 2.
Yeah,
okay,
so
that makes sense.
That's where they started to shift a bit.
Yeah.
Forgot how short the other phases were.
Well, I know. That's because this phase
like
is going
6
on
films,
forever.
8 films, and then Phase 3 was like 17 and a half films.
Well, and with all the TV shows, it just felt like...
once they got to the
8
TV shows, man.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so
Kill it.
we have Tales to Astonish issue number 27, which is where Ant-Man was first introduced, and we see Ant-Man and the Wasp as well in issue number 44. And so we get a lot of their backstory, but again, it's not about them. It's about Scott. Scott's character is the same. He's a thief who's very smart and gets kind of mixed up with the original Ant-Man. And so like that, a lot of that is similar. But then we get Darren Cross, who becomes the Yellowjacket villain. And he's completely wrong.
Yeah, he is.
So I mean,
it's so wrong.
Here's the deal.
So bad.
I like the story beats of his character. Like remove comic accuracy.
Yeah.
I like the story beats of his character. He's because in the comics he's a self-made millionaire and he's a genius, like a borderline genius.
Yeah.
So very similar to in this one where he's a borderline genius. He's very similar to Scott to Hank Pym. And I like the story beat of Hank like seeing too much of himself in him, the arrogance, whatever. Like I liked all those story beats, but they weren't comic driven.
Yeah,
they were story beat driven.
I agree. I think, when you think about it from like a movie lens, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. What's the word for it? I guess just like storyline. There's another.
Story beat.
There's another name for it. I can't remember what it is, but like it's a novelty of movies that you have this like your mentor that sees too much of themselves in you and they were able to control it, but you're not. But what ends up driving you out of control is the fact that they don't believe in you enough or they don't explain themselves enough or like this just like mentor versus mentee dynamic. It's a cliche that it works in movies, but like did it really need to happen here? I don't know.
Yeah, but the other thing is, and the other issue is, I mean, and they chose to do Darren Cross, but like his getting into the Yellowjacket suit and like becoming Yellowjacket and becoming that villain, was not at all anything to do with any of this. Like it had to do with the power broker, and it had to do with his child. Like
who wasn't even introduced yet.
No, Yellowjacket's child, and like Yellowjacket did find out, like. He got obsessed with the Pym lab and the idea of Pym particles. And so that was accurate, but like nothing else. The whole animosity between Hope and Hank, which again, I think worked really well, but it really wasn't from comics.
No.
So
it's not derived.
The characters, very comic for the most part, except for Yellowjacket, comic accurate. The storyline, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Which in terms for a Marvel movie is kind of run of the mill.
Right, at this point, that's
at
what they're doing.
At this point. Now,
wait. Oh. Let's get into our
comic review.
Comic review.
Yeah, we did the Carnage.
Let's
do the comic review. Title card. No chainsaws.
No, I do what I want.
Okay. All right, so what were you
saying? So what I was saying was
before you were so rudely interrupted.
Yeah. I just feel like because of looking at it now, this is a very run of the mill.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like Logan's saying, like it's kind of like hard to describe. Not story arc, character arc, whatever, but the story itself isn't derived directly from a comic, but it's or derived from the characters. So it's like, is this a correction? Is this a perfection? Is this just a good movie?
Right.
That's what we're here to answer.
Man.
But
it's basic.
If I'll start us off.
Yeah, start us off.
It is what it is. I think. I feel like I think it's I loved the movie.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
like how they did the CGI with like him shrinking down, running down, the guns
cool.
and going into like the computers or what. Like that's awesome. And like that just shows you how powerful Ant-Man can be.
Yes.
And we see that further on, obviously,
like
with him going into like Iron Man and unplugging stuff and all that stuff.
And even the Wasp in the second movie.
Yeah,
like
even the Wasp.
Her control of the suit.
Right. And
so
you would
cool.
say that she's probably cooler because she could fly. So, but.
She has blasters, too.
And that's true. But, like, because they're taking a different run at it, and it's a not as known run compared to, I don't know, it's kind of like debating between, is it New 52 or is it the old DC? Like we were talking about in our other videos that we've been talking about. So I'm going to stick with it is what it is, but I think it's a really good movie, and I thought it was a start to the new phase of phase 3, which I didn't realize. None of us really realized that, wow, that's the last movie before, you know, this is the beginning of Ant-Man, but it's also the start of a new phase, which lasted about 7 years. So,
well, no, you're thinking of phase 4. Phase 3 was the good one that ended with,
well, I think that one
lasted Infinity War and Endgame.
It was still a longer phase.
No one's longer than 4.
It's not this eternity that we've been in. Not the eternity saga.
If phase 4 is done.
Well, phase 4 was 1,000 years.
It was 1,000 years.
So,
of joy.
I think it is what it is.
Not all of it.
Not all of it.
I think I almost said Firefly.
Firefly.
I'm in DC mode. I think Yellowjacket, he's a good character, but like how Ant-Man is definitely one of those characters that's like an upper B class character that they made into an A class character. If that makes sense. The MCU made him into an A class character, and in the comics he's definitely a upper B, grade B.
Well, so I think they made him power level A class. But Scott Lang's terrible. He can't do it. He's not.
I mean, if you're talking in the grand scheme of like the Avengers, he's like a backup. But like, I mean, as in like a loved character.
Oh yeah,
I think he's an A-rated character
100%.
in the MCU.
Because Paul Rudd.
I agree.
Everybody loves Paul Rudd.
It's like RDJ. Would Iron Man be that much of a huge character if it wasn't RDJ?
Right, not in the way
I don't think so.
No, not in the way that he is in the movies.
No, I think honestly, I think Captain America would be over RDJ. And I like Captain America better than Iron Man in the comics, but in the MCU, I'm an Iron Man fan.
Yeah, RDJ is freaking amazing.
Because of RDJ.
Yeah.
So I think that he had that same charisma, that same draw to people where like, man, he's kind of like, I mean, he's a criminal, he's like now a good guy.
He's every day.
But he wasn't like he's like a Robin Hood criminal almost, but like just to survive, not necessarily to give to people, but like to survive, he did it.
Well, he gave his first crime was to give to people.
That's true.
He distributed the wealth of he blew the whistle on them, and then they fired him, and then he went back in and like.
It's true.
I mean, he did drive the guy's car into his pool, but
this is true.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know.
Yeah, I think
you give me this weird look.
I think
what you looking at.
I'm gonna get to him. I'm gonna let him stew for a minute.
Stew him.
Let him stew for a little.
You know what they say about stewed meats?
Let him
stew it
simmer.
some more.
Brings out the
you can't be too tender. You know what I mean?
Brings out the juice. Falls right off the bone.
Well, okay.
No. So
what do you got, Greg?
I think
that's not anything to do with juices. Unless it's juicing, then we're in.
Ooh, juice cleanse. I need one of those.
I was gonna say a little like HGH or TRT,
TRT.
but yeah, I'm into that too.
Shh.
Greens.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure you can get HGH that's green.
Sure.
Anyway, I think Yellowjacket was a smart move.
Yeah.
As a villain, because it allowed for someone who could do the same things that Ant-Man could do, because people weren't ready, like, or not that they weren't ready, but they weren't familiar with the Ant-Man power set, and like, so it was good to see a villain who could do the same thing.
Right. And
those comedy beats at the end. I mean, I love the end fight with Yellowjacket when they're fighting on the Thomas the Tank Engine thing, and it all of a sudden cuts back, and they're like tiny, like and the thing falls over. So I think that was a good idea to start with him.
Yeah. And
I also think that the purpose was not Yellowjacket. Yellowjacket was the catalyst to bring Scott into the picture. The purpose was to show a man who's lost, like, or fearing to lose, has lost a lot and is fearing to lose the rest of what he loves, which is his daughter. And like, he's suffering from being in prison and not seeing his daughter. He's caught in a moral conundrum of like, what do I do? I want to provide for my daughter. No one will hire me. Do I go back to crime? Do I do this? Do I do that? And I thought it was a wonderful beginning building block, which we're seeing now culminate in the third movie. Like, we're seeing that idea of culminating of his Ant-Man is not about the villains, really. I think it will be in the third one because Kang is so important, but it's more about a father fighting for what he has and what he wants, and what he's lost. And it's like honestly, I think Ant-Man is one of the most tragic characters in the MCU in a relatable sense because of what because he's literally lost his entire.
Bold statement.
I know, but here's the deal. Like, I have a hard time.
Mic drop.
I have a hard time relating. Like, a lot of times when people talk about the emotional, because Marvel is known for emotional trauma in their characters, right? I have a hard time. Well, you get like Wanda, who has to kill her lover and then watch him come back and then watch him die again, like that kind of stuff. Like,
I don't even know who you are.
Right?
Yeah, but you're literally naming.
My goodness, the Batwing literally teetered 2 times, and it was just like, not today. Went back on its base.
Stabilizers activate. Well, what I'm
Yeah, but we
saying
literally
is,
just easily, without any hard work whatsoever, named 2 people who had much more tragic lives.
No. Well, let me finish it though.
Than him.
Let me finish it though, because I have a harder time relating to that. Then I feel like the Ant-Man character is very relatable in the sense of like making mistakes in your life and losing time with a family member. Like that, I feel like that's very relatable.
I think it's because he's the most human.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
exactly. In that, yes, the gravitas of the loss
Gravitas
in the other characters. Gravitas.
No, gravitas.
Leviosa.
Yeah.
They're definitely bigger.
Yeah.
But it's cosmic. Whereas him, it's just a father who wants to be with his daughter. Like, there's something so raw and real about that. And I think
right. He's not even looking for like a good life, whatever.
No.
He just wants his time back.
Yeah,
time.
He's not
full circle
like
on that.
he's not super heroic.
No.
And he's not super competent.
And he's definitely willing to bend things to kind of
Yeah.
help himself out, but also other people too.
Right. And he cares about other people for sure.
Yeah.
Like, he's a caring person, but when it comes down to it, it's just a father trying to get to his daughter. And there's something very real and genuine about that. And I think the first movie did a great job of building that. It's really both of the first 2 movies, and I think the third one will be too. It's about Scott and Cassie more than it's about Ant-Man fighting people.
As it should be, though.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think that's what they did. I think that's what they did well. Now, I would agree that it's not very comic accurate when it comes to the arc of the story. I think Scott as a character is very comic accurate, and Cassie is, and Hank is, and Hope is. Darren, not so much. But, like, as an arc, I feel like it's a really great story arc. It's just not a comic accurate story arc.
I agree.
All right, you're stewing, man. You're
but
stewing.
wait, hold on. What is it then?
Well, we're not to the verge yet.
I thought we were.
No, we're in the comic review.
No.
You're skipping ahead, man.
Then why did you guys let me say it?
Because it's what you want to do, man.
Full send.
Hey, man. You do you.
Do you?
You do you.
No.
Okay, you do me.
Yep.
Cut that out.
All right, go ahead, Logan. You've been stewing, man. I want to hear what you had to say.
What do you got, Stu?
You guys, do you see how furrowed his brow is?
It was very furrowed
Man,
brow.
You're like a marble statue right now. I've never seen you this quiet.
You look like the guys from the Muppets where they're just like,
the guys that yell from the balcony.
Yeah.
Ant-Man sucks.
Marley and Marley. Have a good
should
night.
just ended it right there.
He
What do you mean?
Sucks.
What sucks about him?
All of it.
Him?
No, like him as it It just sucks.
Okay.
It's just really not good.
You need to have.
Let's elaborate a
you
little
need to
there.
have
Yeah.
some evidence.
Let me
here.
elaborate.
Let's
Elaborate.
unpack
Let
that.
me elaborate.
Yeah, can we unpack the suckage?
I do have it. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been thinking about it a lot.
Okay.
I honestly believe Paul Rudd just makes this character, and I don't really think people. No, but hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't really think people like Ant-Man, and I don't really think people like Scott Lang. I just think people like Paul Rudd. Like, I think,
So you're pretty much agreeing with what we're saying, is that like this has absolutely no comic accuracy.
but it's not even just. But
that he wouldn't be relevant unless it was Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do for the most part agree with you guys. I do, but even scenes that like are semi interesting don't make me I don't feel very interested in them because Ant-Man really just kind of sucks, man.
What don't you like about him? I'm curious.
For forever. So this isn't just like this movie,
right?
But forever, like Ant-Man as a character to me, just really doesn't do anything for me. Like
until Hank started in the comics anyway. Until Hank started experimenting with growth as well as shrinking.
Well, no, but here's my issue.
Sure.
Ant-Man's true power lies in his ability to communicate with insects.
Sure.
And being tiny.
Well,
okay.
Yeah. Well, communicate with ants in particular.
Ants in particular.
And they did that. I was actually, going back and watching again, I was surprised. They did a lot.
I know, in the first one.
In the first movie, yeah, a freaking whole lot.
But my point being is over time, and I know we're just focusing on the first one, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Over time, I'm talking about my experience with this. Hank, for the most part, and then even Scott becomes obsessed with just growing bigger and bigger and bigger because he thinks that is the true source of power.
Right. Scott,
so as
Scott
a character,
not Hank. Scott and Goliath have that back and forth in the second movie.
No. But I mean, there's animated series with Hank.
Oh, sure.
Like being obsessed with being gigantic.
Yeah.
And my point with that is that is a reflection of his ego.
Yes.
As opposed to like actually being something that's powerful to him. So because of that, I've always Ant-Man sucks, man. He doesn't embrace who he is as a character. I honestly, as a hero, he doesn't embrace who he is.
Right.
The casting on this is great, and that's what draws you in. Michael, honestly, the best part of this movie is the interaction and the conversations that Michael Pena and his crew has with him.
Yes,
and
very fun.
Those are the best beats of the whole movie.
There were some Michael Douglas,
Darren Cross,
some pretty good emotional beats with Hope.
Darren Cross is overreaching on this. He overacts in this whole movie. It's over the top. And if this wasn't Paul Rudd playing, I honestly feel like it really wasn't that great of a movie.
Though you know what? You know what's really funny about it?
I think it's just overrated. I honestly think Ant-Man as a character is overrated because of Paul Rudd.
You think? Yeah, you think it's a unrealistic view of how cool he is or how good he is.
Yeah,
because people just like Paul Rudd.
Because I like Paul Rudd because they like Paul
performance.
Rudd. Yeah.
Performance.
And so I think Ant-Man sucks, man. I just I don't have any other way to put it. I just don't.
It's not your cup of tea.
It's not my cup of tea. They don't do a very good job with the comic accuracy, and this is not a great storyline. I don't know. I am not thrilled with any part of Ant-Man right now. I'm excited for
the third one.
But I'm not excited for the third one because of Ant-Man.
You're excited for
I'm
Kang.
excited for Kang. I'm not in any of these movies excited for anything to do with Ant-Man. It's not like I'm looking forward to any part of Ant-Man being in these things. I don't care.
Except for Kang's going to require Ant-Man to step himself up. To a greater degree.
I hear you.
He's going to have to.
We have a bigger emotional beat in this third one, it looks like. And let's be honest, the biggest emotional beat for Ant-Man did not come in Ant-Man 1 or 2. It came in
I was gonna say,
Infinity War and Endgame.
Did you enjoy him more in Endgame?
100%. 100%.
Because he wasn't in Infinity War. He didn't come back.
I'm sorry, you're right. Endgame.
Yeah,
I appreciated him in Endgame. As a father, I appreciated an Endgame. But like,
Would you say?
I just don't. I didn't.
Would you say?
I don't know, man. I just couldn't connect.
Would you say you would have like? Would you say your emotional reaction to him in Endgame though would not have been as strong if Ant-Man 1 and 2 didn't exist? Because it built our foundation with him and Cassie.
No, it didn't.
I think it did.
In what way?
The young actress that played Cassie in the first 2 movies and her interaction with Paul Rudd were friggin' like the best parts of the movie.
I
disagree. They were so heartwarming and like just the way she looked up to her father, and it made it so much more sad the fact that he then saw this like 20-year-old woman that didn't get to see her grow up, and like she was his world.
When did he see the 20-year-old woman that he didn't get to see?
The Endgame, but
Endgame.
No, but what I'm saying is the reason why it was so impactful to see her grown up was because you knew her as a little one.
You
got to see her as a little one.
So you're saying all of that could have been alluded to,
but yes,
without even having Ant-Man 1 or 2.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is that those scenes didn't really hit for you.
No, what actually was a bigger emotional beat in that?
Yeah.
Was oh my gosh, and I'm gonna forget his name. The stepdad.
Oh yeah, I don't remember his name either.
Paul Riggle, or not Riggle. I don't remember his first name.
Yeah,
Rob Riggle.
Yeah,
Rob Riggle
he was great.
Plays the stepdad. Yeah. The emotional beat where Ant-Man and him defend her.
In the first one. In the bedroom when Yellowjacket gets in there. Yeah, for sure. It's great.
But the mutual respect that he gains in that moment.
Yeah, sure.
With each other.
Yeah.
That is a good emotional beat.
I agree.
Has nothing really to do with her interactions with them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I'm just saying.
But what I'm saying is the beats between him and Cassie didn't really hit for you.
You could have alluded to all of that without having these 2 movies.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think we gained much from them.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible to say because you can't watch Endgame without having watched those other 2, because you watched the other 2 first.
And if you think about it, unless let me put it this caveat: unless Yellowjacket, Darren Cross is MODOK, right?
He is,
right. Okay,
we've seen his face.
Sure. So unless
they put a fake face on MODOK in the trailer.
Let me recap.
Yeah, that'd be impressive.
Let me recap hilarious. Unless MODOK actually turns into a major character,
sure.
Right,
not one and done,
and not like
not a one and done,
not a quick one and done.
General of Kangs.
Like there is no connection in these movies between anything else. Like no, they are like wasted movies.
The connection the connection of the Ant-Man movies, I would argue, like I said before, is not about who he fights. It's about the family that he's a part of. Like that's the connections.
I hear you. I get what you're trying to say.
Ghost in the second movie is introduced for the sake of Thunderbolts and other things.
Right,
she's going to be. But again, the crux of it.
That's not even sure.
Yeah, the crux of it is him and Cassie.
Right.
Like that's the crux of the first 2 movies, and I think that's the driving force of the third one.
So here's what would make up.
Yeah.
Here's what would make up.
Yeah.
If in this third movie,
yeah,
there has to be something that has to be sacrificed because of their relationship in some way.
Because of Scott and Cassie's?
Yeah, Scott and Cassie's relationship is like a hinge point.
I think it probably will be.
With Kang. And I agree.
I mean, Kang's a great manipulator.
Yeah, so, but not that simple. I feel like it's almost like, now I'm forgetting the animated series that
What If?
What If? So What If? Remember how in the Doctor Strange's episode there are these fixed points.
Yes, yeah.
Right, that cannot be changed in the universes, otherwise the universes begin to collapse upon themselves, right?
Right.
something about their relationship needs to then be a fixed point with Kang.
And it could be because Kang is the eventual author of the Sacred Timeline.
Right.
So that might come into it.
I feel like that needs to come into play here. Something more needs to be about their relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
Kang
how
how Cassie and Kang relate to Kang. Or
right.
how Scott and Cassie relate to Kang.
How Scott and Cassie. Like, Cassie and Scott
I hope
and them having, like, for example, a positive relationship would ruin Kang's future plans. Or
them having a positive relationship would help his plans, and so he's helping Ant-Man get what he wants in order to succeed.
Right.
And Ant-Man has to sacrifice what he wants.
Something along those lines. Yeah. Because I just don't see right now the value of 1 and 2.
You need more.
Yeah, I don't. I think Ant-Man kind of sucks. He's boring to me. As a hero. As a hero.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's a hero. I'm not saying that that Paul Rudd is boring.
Paul Rudd, you heard it here. Logan hates your guts.
I just think his
defend
hero
yourself.
kind of sucks.
Bold statement, bro.
It is.
All right, well, fair enough. We all have our own opinions. Some of them are right, some of them are wrong. Just kidding. We all have our own opinions. Let's wrap up with what that opinion is in our verdict.
Yep.
All right, well, Harry, you want to start us out? I mean, you already kind of said your verdict.
Nailed it. Moving on.
Are you sure? I know you gave a whole explanation. But are you sure?
I knew Harry was going to be in this place. It
is what it is.
Yeah, because Harry agrees with me. Harry agrees with me.
I don't think he does.
Yes, he does.
I don't think he does.
Yes, he does.
Do you agree with him?
I think this is how it always goes.
Harry agrees with me.
I think I'm usually in the middle between the two opinions, or like closer to one a little bit in some movies, and
You're
closer
a little
to the other
bit closer to mine. I know.
But
I know you are in your heart.
He's
in your heart. You don't disagree with me.
I don't disagree in some ways with Logan
and
how Paul Rudd, like RDJ and other characters, has made this character who it is. But in the grand scheme of things, Iron Man would still be Iron Man, and Ant-Man would still be Ant-Man. But Ant-Man is more of who he really is because of Paul Rudd and how he played him and portrayed him. So that being said, I personally think that it is what it is still, and that I think they use a lot from Ant-Man and are currently going to be using with this new movie coming up. They're using him and his character of how Paul Rudd can, carry a whole movie just with like his shtick
his
or
charisma.
Bits. So he can carry a whole movie just by that. So they're using that ability to then capitalize on bringing in new storylines.
Yeah.
So how, they used the Pym particles and brought that whole entire, I don't even know what you want to call it, comic run or just like, I don't want to call it narrative, but I don't know. Not storyline.
Arc.
Maybe an arc, but just like that technology and that influence and all that stuff into like Infinity War and then Endgame and time travel and things like that.
They were, I mean, it was intentional. Kevin Feige wanted to bring in the Pym particles because they knew the quantum realm was going to be big.
Right.
They needed a way in.
They used Ant-Man as a placement tool.
100%.
So
100%.
they capitalized then on people. They realized, oh wow, people like Paul Rudd, and then I think that was a coupling of two things that it was
really crappy character here. How do we make him better?
I think it was at the end of the day. I think it is what it is. He was more of a utility that turned into a fan favorite because of Paul Rudd.
Well said, Harry.
Agreed. Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
Well said.
So I would say that the way Harry, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way you're different from Logan, is that I feel like you liked the movie more than he did because you don't seem to.
I thought the first movie was a good movie,
right? And you don't seem to have actually liked the movie.
So I'll jump in on mine.
I'm sorry, Marvel movie, not just general movie.
Sure. Yeah. It was a good Marvel movie. Yeah.
It was a good Marvel movie.
I would say you're right. I really like the way that Harry explained it.
Agreed.
I really like the way he explained it.
I think we're all in agreement on that.
And so I think it is what it is. And I will give the first one A is
we're not
what it
talking about
is.
this.
I'm not. We're not
Right,
talking.
yeah,
I know.
don't get a second
I know.
one yet.
I'm not.
I know it's
I
tough.
know.
We've already seen it.
But what I'm saying is,
And they
I
kinda
would
run
give
together
The
a
first
little
one,
bit. They do, yeah.
I think the first one is better, and
the
so
second one. Agreed.
I think this one is what it is. I think knowing more about the character, but also I'm thinking about Ant-Man not just in this movie, but I'm thinking about him in the comics. I'm thinking about him.
Sure.
I'm thinking about him in the animated movies and series and stuff like that. And it's just
He's
Paul
not
Rudd.
your cup of tea.
But again, I really like what Harry said. Paul Rudd made a crappy character a fan favorite, but he's still not a great character. Like, he's not a great hero. Like, it's just not.
And Scott Lang has never been in the comics.
Right.
He's not supposed to be.
Right.
He's kind of like a nobody. So I would agree. I think we're going to have a three-way agreement here. So I would agree it is what it is. I think I probably liked the movie more than you.
Sure.
I don't know if I liked it more. I mean, I probably liked it more than you. I really enjoyed the movie. I just thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it was just a fun, good movie.
A fun, good movie. Yeah.
It wasn't a waste of time. That's the
exactly.
That's
yeah.
there's MCU movies where I'm like,
again,
this was a waste of time.
Yeah,
it wasn't a waste
Love
of
and
time.
Thunder,
You're
Black
exactly
Widow,
right. But
Dark
Eternals.
World, even.
you're not.
Dark World's better than you. I
don't mind Dark World.
Would you honestly say you would pick up and watch Ant-Man? Like randomly.
So I would. Because I like the humor and I like Paul Rudd a lot. Like I like him enough.
If someone's just like, hey, you want to come over and watch a movie? I'm like, yeah. I don't know who that person would be, but and they're like, we got we can watch Ant-Man if you want. I'd be like, I wouldn't say no.
Okay.
But if it was like, you can watch Ant-Man or Infinity War, or Endgame, or even Civil War, Iron Man 1.
Yeah. There's plenty
the
more
heavy hitters. Yeah.
I
would never go out of my way to watch Ant-Man.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is
but I'm being honest. There's not many MCU movies that I haven't seen already, which I've seen all of them. There's not many that I would go out of my way to rewatch. Because I'm like, you know what movie I've been dying to rewatch, and I think I'm going to because I don't think Vic ever saw it, is Iron Man 1. That movie is so good.
Yeah.
So let me finish my break for it, and then we'll wrap it up. So I would agree it is what it is. I would agree that Ant-Man is not a great hero. The Scott Lang version in particular, I would say I much prefer the Hank Pym version.
Yeah.
When he's a villain. When he goes corrupt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we see that in What If.
Right.
We get to see that, man.
Yeah. And he
goes bonkers.
Yeah, and I just like Ant-Man himself, I'm with you. I never really got into as like a hero. But he was always at his best when he went down his dark path and like Reed Richards had to rail him back in and like he was just kind of went
I like
nuts.
that. Yeah.
So I would agree. And I think like you said, Harry, you said it perfectly that Paul Rudd elevated this B level movie,
utility character
to an A level movie. To like it was fun
to bring in,
And I'm excited to see what's going to happen in Ant-Man 3 and to see Paul Rudd kind of. I mean, Peyton Reed has said they're going in a much more serious direction. I'm interested to see Paul Rudd flex his chops a little bit and maybe try and do some more serious stuff in it. Like I know he's great as the lovable like whatever, but I'm kind of interested to see him in trouble and like see what it looks like. You know,
I want to see.
Have we seen
Scott pissed off?
Yeah, true.
Well, have we seen any of the Marvel heroes go bad?
I mean, Doctor Strange kind of went a little nuts.
Scarlet Witch went
nuts.
She's pretty much the only one that we've seen like turn evil.
I would really like to. I think
we've seen like Bucky do bad stuff.
The storyline with Hank going evil and picking people off on the Avengers was
the What If one. That was one of the best episodes.
And one of the best episodes.
But that's the thing.
Blew the Hulk up from the inside.
Yeah.
That's the thing with Marvel. We're not gonna get.
Probably not.
You're on the nose.
Though, I don't know. Though they greenlit that Marvel Zombies the animated one, and it's apparently R-rated.
Ooh.
So
I get that, but they're not gonna put like
Deadpool's R-rated now.
Doctor Strange, multiverse. The only reason that movie was I don't want to say talked about so much, well, because it was just like it was edgy. You know what I mean? Like it was like it was the quote unquote darkest Marvel movie yet. It was the most like thriller, intense kind of because of like
horror elements and stuff.
Because of what Scarlet Witch was and what she did and how desperate she was and stuff like that. And we're not going to see that ever again.
Yeah. Or that's as intense as it'll ever be.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's it.
Goes.
Which is like mid-level DC.
But that's as far as it goes.
Yeah,
you're right.
Unless this Deadpool 3 like really freaking kicks it into gear,
but that's unnecessary violence. That's not necessarily like thriller.
No,
I know,
suspenseful kind of.
But if they look in something like that with that kind of violence can make them a lot of money, you know.
I mean, it's gonna make a lot of money anyway. It's got Wolverine and Deadpool in it, so huge Jackman, and Ryan Reynolds. So
I'm with Harry. I'm with Harry.
Well, we all I think we all agree on this one.
Wow,
it is what it is.
Yep,
who would have thought?
Who funked it?
Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
What a family. That's Ant-Man 1. We have Ant-Man 2 coming out next week.
Dose.
And then the following week, we'll have Ant-Man
The Deuce,
3.
some people say.
Some would say it equates to
the
Deuce. A big old dump.
Well, some people would.
Guess you'll have to watch our video.
See what we think. We'll catch you guys next time on the Legion of Comic Correction.